Hello, thank you for joining us today. My name is Jacklynn Blanchard, and I'm a policy analyst too in the Office of Justice Research and Performance, also known as OJRP, and a member of the Cultural Inclusion Alliance Committee. We are here today in recognition of the 35th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, which took place on July 26th of this year. We are joined today by Emily Cole and Amber Murphy, who are both from the ARC of Rensselaer County. The ARC of Rensselaer County is the largest national community-based organization advocating for and with people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and serving them and their families. Emily is the self-advocate specialist at the ARC and also the treasurer of the self-advocates group. And Amber runs the development department. Emily and Amber, thank you for joining us today. Is there anything else about yourselves that you'd like to share with our audience before we get started with our interview?
I would say that Emily really loves advocating, as she especially loves social media and being represented on all the platforms like TikTok. It's kind of like her favorite thing. So we do a lot of that together. And we've been learning a lot of those skills together. So,
And I've grown a lot since I've done it with her.
That's great. Yeah, I'm always a big fan of TikTok. Is there a particular TikTok video that you've made that you're especially proud of?
you did the music video one last week, right?
Yeah.
Or the one where you're holding up the sign, one of those two. She did we did a Black Eyed Peas song. She made basically a music video, like going along lip syncing. That one got a lot of views, right? So
yeah,
we were pretty proud of that one, I think.
Very cool. I've never made a TikTok before. I imagine it's a lot of work.
You think it's a lot of work?
not really.
Does it just come easy for you?
She's just the talent. She just shows up and is amazing.
Mhm.
Well, there you go. That's great. All right. So if you don't have anything else that you'd like to share about yourself, then we can just go straight into the interview. Does that sound okay?
Mhm.
All right. Wonderful. So what does the Americans with Disabilities Act, also known as the ADA, mean to you personally, Emily?
The ADA means I can be normal and things I can be included, like going to stores, getting a job, and getting a ride to the bus, riding the bus.
And how has it made a difference in your life, especially when it comes to things like safety, justice, or public access? It sounds like you've talked a little bit about public access, so you get to ride the bus and you get to participate more in your community. Are there other ways in which it has made a difference in your life?
Job, maybe?
My job.
Yeah, it sounds like your job is important to you. That makes a difference.
And it also like helps make sure that you get the accommodations that you need for our job, right? So like she might need like a flex schedule some days, or various accommodations. So I mean things like if she needs something, it kind of helps protect her.
Mhm.
Right? Like we talk a lot about that. Just different ways that it helps just protect her so that she can work and do it safely.
What does true accessibility mean to you? And can you give us an example?
It means everyone is represented and inclusion for everyone.
A little bit, I think, sometimes tough to communicate that for Emily because her disability is not necessarily physical in a way that somebody might need a wheelchair. So it might mean something different to somebody who needs like accessibility in spaces, whereas like I don't think that like you necessarily have those particular challenges. But it does mean, just general inclusion for you everywhere.
What's a myth or stereotype about people with disabilities that you wish was challenged more? And what's something that you think might surprise people?
That we don't understand are talking to us, taking TikTok comments.
Yeah, so like Our TikTok comments would be a good example because we'll do a video. So there was a recent one where we held up a sign saying something and a lot of the comments were like, does Emily even understand? It's like, of course she understands. Like we talk about things like she doesn't make any of those without like, what's our process, right? Like I explain it to you. And then she gets the yes or no final approval before anything is posted about her. But it's also very important to me personally when we do it that she fully understands. But our comment section every single time will be like, does she even understand what she's doing? So I mean, that's a big thing that we talk about quite often. Or if we're in situations, people will talk to me instead of directly talking to Emily. So a lot. And how else do people talk to you? Like what, like the difference in like talking to me versus talking to you?
Sometimes they talking as younger than I am.
They talk down to you like you're the small child. How does it make you feel when you see those TikTok comments or when someone speaks to you like that?
They're sad.
Yeah.
But we don't, what do we do?
We don't. We pump them up and we give it right back to them.
Right.
Yeah, so we like to use it as opportunities to like, you know, hey, well, actually she can, and here's why.
We educate them instead of putting me down.
As an educational opportunity. What do you think that you'd like to see people do differently?
As an adult.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or is there other things about like how people treat you that you wish that they would maybe, like what's a suggestion?
Like come to me if it's a problem.
To talk to you directly. That makes sense. That's a reasonable thing to expect from people. What's something that might surprise people?
That I'm smart and I have a voice.
It's great that you have a platform for it too.
Also like making decisions and consent. Like I think we've seen that one a lot too, where people will assume that if Emily's participating in an opportunity like this, that she's being used or things like that, versus like she understands that this is an opportunity to help others and like she is an active participant.
Right.
And a lot of times people just, they don't think that that's a possibility or a reality, unfortunately.
Have there been any state programs or policies that have helped or hindered your ability to be able to live more independently? And if so, how?
Both. Yes, they can help me, support me being independent. They got the hot dog, but I actually don't need the hot dog cut up.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So, right. So it's a, this has come up so many times in our self-advocacy meetings. Just this and other similar rules that are like, again. So this and other rules that are made like across the board instead of for individuals. So like under our care, for example, Emily would have to, it's a requirement that she gets her hot dogs cut in the middle and we're not allowed to let her eat it otherwise. But like if she is independent of us and like goes home for the weekend, she can just eat a hot dog normally because she doesn't have that limit or restriction and it's not a safety hazard for her personally. But there's a lot of blanket policies that are across the board instead of Emily as a person.
I see. So there's a lack of individualized. It makes it more challenging to provide individualized care when you're having to abide by these policies.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you live on your own, basically, right? So like talk about like how you live on your own.
I live on my own. I have one other roommate.
And you get a little bit of support, but you don't always have someone.
I only get a tiny bit of support, but most of it I'm independent.
Okay.
So she can be fully independent on her own in her own residence, but she can't have a hot dog in our day program. So there's just some rules that just do not make sense for everybody.
Okay. How has being a self-advocate helped you? What advice would you give to someone who's learning how to speak up for their rights and needs?
I would say be more confident
Mhm.
and talk about the needs.
One of the things we talk about is having a goal, right? So talk about that.
We talk about in our self-advocacy as having a goal.
Right, like what's the difference in having a goal and not having a goal?
A goal is mean you can accomplish something, and the other is
Like you're just complaining, right? So like,
complaining.
right,
You're not like advocating. Is that right?
right, yeah. So like, right, so like you have to have a solution. So it's one of the things that we talk about a lot is that if you're advocating for yourself, like what's your goal? What do you want to accomplish here? Because if you don't have something that you want to accomplish, are you advocating or are you just complaining? So we want to make sure that like, yeah, you can complain about things, but you need to have a plan to fix the complaint. So it's definitely something that we try to encourage, and we talk about a lot with our self-advocacy. Just because, right? Like it's very important to speak for yourself, but in a way that people will respect you when you do.
What are some barriers that you face in accessing education, employment, or public services, and how have you dealt with that, Emily?
This was the question that you struggled with.
And
I think we were struggling for this one because, like Emily, you're very fortunate, right? So talk about like how you're fortunate, like opposed to like some of your friends, like your family.
I get to go home, like
Mhm.
seeing my parents like once a month, and I get to go out and do stuff for them.
Mhm.
So Emily is a fortunate part of a fortunate group. I don't want to say fortunate, but her family has been very supportive in helping her access all the things that she needs to access, and not everybody has that.
Right.
So like I'm sure Emily does face barriers that maybe she doesn't realize are barriers, but in the same way that I would, but I think that she has a different perspective than a lot of people, just because she has had the support from an early age, and that does make a big difference. Whereas like not everybody has that. I mean, how old are you?
I'm 24. I just turned 24.
So she has had, help since early intervention time, whereas some people don't. And that does make a big difference in the barriers that you face because you get help with those barriers along the way.
Right. Amber, you mentioned that Emily, you have some friends that have had some challenges in trying to get, um, the services that they need, maybe, or accessing education or getting a job. Can you speak to that? Maybe what it's like for some of your friends?
It's hard to get a job because they're low on staffing.
Mhm.
Yeah, so in terms of getting a job, if you have a job coach, which you need access to, a job coach can help you with everything from the interview process, to connecting you with a place that is, going to hire you and treat you well, or willing, like there should not be any discrimination anywhere, but unfortunately, like there still is. So we do a lot of like partnering with local businesses and agencies or other places that will, we know will hire the people that we support and support them along the way because you do need that help. So anything from the hiring process to just like checking in along the way on the job journey to say like, hey, if you're struggling with this, how can we help support you so that you're not struggling with this? Or even sometimes communicating with your employer, just to kind of help them understand your needs because not every employer understands. Whereas I think Emily's a little bit different because she works for us in an
Right.
agency of people who work with disabilities. But there are a lot of people who don't have that experience. So, her boyfriend works at a movie theater, where we might need to work with the movie theater staff to say, hey, like, what's going on, do you need help, like, is there anything that we can help him do to be better at his job, that kind of stuff. That's really, I mean, vital for somebody's success.
What are some challenges that people with disabilities encounter when dealing with the justice system? So when dealing with, like perhaps like the police, and what do you think would help to improve those interactions? So have you or anyone you know, Emily, had any maybe not so good experiences in trying, maybe something was misunderstood with a police officer and it didn't go very well or anything like that?
Not trusting us to speak up for ourselves, for not knowing we can.
So it might be helpful if I rephrase this. So if we were talking with a police officer about an issue, what's something like that would happen if they were talking to us and it was you and I standing there?
They'll come to Amber, that not talk to me, but it should been the police officer to come to the person that is having the problem.
Okay. So instead of speaking to you, they would speak to Amber. And that sounds similar to what you talked about before, and people, not trusting you to be able to speak for yourself.
Definitely a common issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how many times that we have been somewhere in a professional capacity, because Emily and I do work together a lot. Opportunities like this, or if we go somewhere to advocate for something, where we'll be having a conversation and somebody will talk directly to me when they're asking, like they'll ask a question about Emily to me, and I'm like, she's right here.
Right.
You can ask her. So that is something that happens frequently, and it does happen for the people that we support in the justice system, particularly where if there's an incident and there's a staff person and there's the person having the incident, there's usually like some barriers there of like they'll go directly to the person, but like that's not always helpful. Or there might be communication barriers or issues where like maybe they're not believed because they are disabled.
Right.
So it's very important to like hear someone out and talk to them directly.
Right. I'm sure that there are situations in which there isn't some Amber isn't there and they can only speak to you, Emily, and maybe they're, making assumptions or not giving you the opportunity to speak for yourself. And that could be frustrating.
Yeah.
What's something that they could do to help you feel comfortable in that situation? Like, let's say you call the cops because you have an issue with a neighbor doing something wrong. So you need to call the police. Like, what's something that could help you feel comfortable talking to them in that situation? Like, what can they do to help you?
Maybe step aside so they can listen. They can listen to me fully, or give me the attention I need, so the neighbor can't say anything back.
So have you step aside with the police officer just to speak to you and not give the neighbor the opportunity to interject so that you can speak? That makes sense. That seems like a good way to de-escalate a situation too, to give each person the opportunity to speak for themselves. That's a good suggestion. So what are some things that state agencies, so I work for a state agency, I work for the Division of Criminal Justice Services. What are some things that agencies like mine can do a better job of when it comes to including people with disabilities in decision making and hiring?
Remember, we are individuals, not everyone has the same needs or limits.
Also, what about just include like if there's a room full of people making decisions that are going to impact you about disabilities, what do you think should happen in that process?
They should ask each of us.
Or not necessarily each of you, but have somebody represented. So like on our board, for example, right, we have somebody on our board to represent an advocate. We have an advocate on our board to represent that voice. So just representation.
That makes a lot of sense. It's always good to have more representation. and to have people that can speak to those specific experiences when making decisions about things that will impact their lives. So when you think about the future, Emily, what's your hope for disability rights and inclusion in New York? What's some things that you would like to see happen?
Better inclusion.
How? How can, if we're talking to lawmakers, what are some things you could suggest to them that
Better
how to make the world equal for you?
better training.
Better training
Better-
for who?
But like the cop and
Even staff. More resources, more training for staff for sure. Or just the public in general, right? Oh, what else? Other things, what are some things that we see around here that could be better? A lot of it's staffing. A lot of ours would be really staffing needs from the state. Really just, making sure we get true inclusion in the budget would be great. I personally have to fight for that every year on our behalf. That's a big thing. And also just again, the blanket rules, the things that there's a lot of things that impact people with disabilities that people don't realize, like Medicaid cuts, that kind of stuff. So, just in general, just, making sure that there's representation before these things are being made to how will it affect this group of people. That's always really helpful.
It's like maybe also getting to know people on an individual level, getting to know, everyone has somebody in their life that has a disability. It seems like we could all make more of an effort to try to get to know other people in our community and find out things about each other. You love TikTok. I wouldn't necessarily know that, but now I know that we have something in common. So that's something that we could talk about.
Yeah, I would say before I came here, I had no experience directly, and it changed my, just spending one day with someone will completely change your perspective because it doesn't take long to learn to love somebody. And it doesn't take long for you to just put yourself in their position and see the challenges and have some empathy there. So I think people who are making decisions, it would be so nice if those decision makers were spending time, just even a small amount of time to see who those decisions were affecting, because I believe with my whole heart that if you spend a day with a disabled individual, that you will never have the same viewpoint about a lot of policies and procedures. You will care a lot more about fighting for things like Medicaid or even just personalized rules or just things that you wouldn't imagine are a little bit unjust or unequal in the world, that you spend one day with somebody, it'll change your perspective.
Are there opportunities for people to volunteer at the ARC if they're interested?
We do sometimes have opportunities, and we are working on growing that. We do have to balance state mandated restrictions and stuff like that when it comes to those opportunities, but we do have some opportunities available for sure. We also have, lots of events that people can come get to know people and mingle and meet and greet and those kind of things. But also really just including in general, if you see someone, have a conversation. What does your group do? What are some activities your group does?
What day program?
Yeah, you go bowling and
We go bowling, we go out and volunteer.
yeah, you do a lot of volunteer work. Talk about some of your volunteer work.
We go out to the food pantry, the Capitol food pantry, and pack boxes. Then we
What's
go.
something else we have in common, Emily? I also I volunteer at a food pantry.
Yeah, so just there's opportunities like that where you might run into somebody or a group of people in that capacity, and just sitting down and having a conversation.
We deliver meals meals to seniors on Mondays.
That's nice. And then you get an opportunity to talk to them.
And they have the biggest smile to see us.
That's great. What are some of the events? You mentioned that there are some events that people can come and participate in. What's the next event that's coming up?
So our next event, we have a trivia night in September. I want to believe, don't quote me on this, I believe it's September 23rd at Ryan's Wake in Troy. We do have a table from our community inclusion group. They have a trivia club on Fridays. So a group of that trivia comes to our trivia night. So that's a great opportunity to kind of get to know people, because you have, at least one table full of people to go talk to. And you're playing against them. And let me tell you, they're always like the top of the list.
They're really good.
Was it like last year? You guys were like literally number one until the last question.
Yeah.
And they lost. Yeah, so I mean, there is that. What do we call you guys? The Quizzards of Arc?
Yeah.
Quizzards of Arc. So they have their own trivia team at our trivia night, and they absolutely crush it. And then that's also hosted, co-hosted by a person that we support. One of his goals in life is to host a game show. So he loves to host our trivia night. Jovi,
Yep.
friend Jovi is a giant personality. So he's also hosting that. And then the rest of the year we have our gala, our annual gala.
That was fun last year.
Yeah, you always go to the galas.
Did you do
so
at the gala last year?
What?
What did you do?
What did you do? Why was it fun?
I danced and stuff, and I
did?
came up.
That does sound like fun.
When we watched Diane Dearborn get an award. So every year at our gala, somebody gets an award for something that they do in our community. So we did see that. We have speakers and things like that at the gala. That's in November. I think that's kind of rounding out our year for events. I will say next year in May, there is a throwback prom, which you didn't go to that one.
No.
But her boyfriend went to it and he won prom king.
But I ran for the parking lot and gave him a big hug.
Yes, you did.
Very appreciated that.
So we do, yes, that was we're gonna do it again in May. So that's an 80s themed prom. Everyone is welcome to. It's definitely a fun way to interact with somebody and get to know them. So that was
Wear some big poofy dresses too.
Yes.
I'm going this year.
You're going this year? Yeah, you had the FOMO.
What is your TikTok handle? What's the name of your TikTok channel?
It's the Arc of Rensselaer.
Okay, wonderful.
And I'm like one of the top ones on the arc.
Yes, she's frequented in a lot of our content. Yeah, people will request her now. We get a lot of comments. We get a lot of comments that are asking to see our queen over here.
Very cool. So if people want to see that, they can go on your TikTok. Is it also reposted on Reels on Instagram?
Most of the time, yes.
Great. So it sounds like there's multiple opportunities for people to check out the videos that you've made, Emily. Before we close, is there anything else that you would like the audience to know?
No.
Okay, guess not.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for both of you joining us today. This was a pleasure. And I hope that you enjoyed yourself. I enjoyed myself, and hopefully everyone that watches this got to learn something new, and maybe there's some events that they can join you at. Sounds like there's some pretty cool events coming up and some videos to watch.
We would definitely love to see people.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My name is Pink and I'm really glad to meet you. You're recommended to me by some people. Hey, ooh, is this illegal?